All right, this is hopefully going to be a little shorter. I want to talk about just how you transfer files from a PC to this Brady Nordic Android terminal, or how you can go the other way. If you open up, like right now, I have the HH85. It's plugged into its dock, and the dock has a USB cable in the back that's going to my PC. and Although that's allowing me to run this mirroring software, um, it's most commonly you use that cable connection in order to be able to drag files to and from the device. Maybe it might be a new version of the Brady app that comes in an APK file download. You could drag the APK file over to the downloads folder on the device and install it from there. In our case, we're going to be using it to move a new version of the configuration file for that the Brady app, and I wanted to go through the process of how that works. Now, you don't need to have USB debugging installed to do this. This is a thing that I'm using to enable my mirroring software to work. But what I wanted to show instead is if you swipe down when you're, let's see, is that right? I think it's the other way around. So if I swipe up, I get here to the home page. And if you swipe down, you should see notifications. And down here, when you're connected with a USB cable, it'll by default just use it to charge the battery. And since you're going to a USB port, it's going to be really slow. But tap it again, and you'll see the other options. And for file transfer, we want to do this. As soon as I click on file transfer, though, it's going to kick off my mirroring software. You see that? Which is fine. So now go back, and I'll just hit the home page here. I'm going to hit cancel on that. We're not going to run that mirroring software. If I come back to my PC and I look at the file manager, I can now see that I have an HH85 drive that's showing, and it wasn't before. So if you're not able to see an HH85 connection within File Manager on your PC, it's probably because you need to look at notifications and change the USB setting to, once again, file transfer. Okay? So when you have that, now let's dig down into this drive and what do we see for stored files on this Android device. Double click. Their first level here that you want to look at is, yeah, you do have a downloads folder. A lot of this is very similar to any other Android phone, tablet, whatever. If you want to use a download folder for like your APK file in case you have an upgrade, that's not a bad place to put it. But for the Brady app, it's going to be under Android. So click on the Android folder, then the data folder, and then look for the app that you're dealing with. There's one here for my mirroring software. There's one for the Chrome browser, and there's one here for the ATA app from Brady. So open that one up, and you'll see files folder. And this is really the guts of the app's support files. You're going to have a license file. This one, again, if you buy it from ID integration, the license file is already going to be pre-installed. You don't have to worry about installing it. If you don't, you have to actually get the license file generated. They now have a new way in version 1026 to be able to scan a barcode, and that will create this license file automatically. But before that version, you would have to actually get a license file sent to you based upon the serial number of the device. Then Brady will send you a license file. You can download it to this folder. Again, internal shared storage, Android data, com.brady.ata, and files. That's this license file. Don't lose that. That's a file that enables the software to work. Now, another one in here is there is a CSV file. Everything that you scan is going to be loaded in this CSV file. That could be a good thing for just backup. Otherwise, it's it's a results file. It's not needed to run the program. The other one that's required to run the program is this file, atamodel.xml. This is the configuration file that is required to define what the button names are within the programs, what the button menu options are, and the one that comes from Brady is all-inclusive. It has, in my opinion, way too many options, and it is also pre-populated, as you saw in a previous video. So it makes its use in an everyday environment kind of difficult. So instead, we're going to use a different version of that configuration file. So, but this video is more about file transfer. So again, you want to get to this place where you can find this file, then you can find whatever file you want to send down. Let's see if I've got, here's the APK file. If I wanted to send that down to the downloads folder and run it from there, just drag it over to download, right? I got one there already. So if I want to have this ATA model file sent down to the actual app itself, Android data com Brady file or ATA and then files. So drag that there. Okay. Now what I do and what I suggest is that you keep the original Brady ATA model file. And when you're ready to do something else or use something else, then you can rename it to ATA under model original, maybe, right? If I just maybe put a 0, maybe I'll just put original, something like that. Now, I don't actually have, if I did this, that name wouldn't work either because it's actually got that extension there. So now if we run the program, it will run with these settings. And I have different settings here. I want to actually use this one instead. So I'm just going to delete that. And I'm going to take my, let's say IDI one, and this one needs some tweaking to be honest, but I'm just going to go ahead and copy it and then get rid of that suffix, right? So now I have ATA model.xml. And if I run the program, you'll now see that it has a very different set of buttons and naming conventions for those buttons. So let's let it start up and hopefully you'll see a different array of things on here. Yeah, I'll get a little bit closer so you can see. Because again, my mirroring software is off, right? But I changed in my config file, I don't use the word commission, I use the word new. And I can do the same thing. I can go into settings, I can put in the password of 123. And again, don't worry, the password can change, right? And I have all of these additional things down here I can now get rid of. So let's say I'm not doing a single record stuff, so let's get rid of that. Let's not do multi-record. Oops. And so we got dual record, and I think that's it. Hit back. And there now I have read a new 2-record UIC1, code construct 1, and construct 2. So that's how you transfer the files. And again, it's the ATA model.xml file that we're going to really go into in the next video and show how we do some basic changes. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but I want you to be familiar with what the file looks like and where there are certain segments of that file that can be changed or adapted to your specific needs rather than some generic vocabulary that the ATA world or Brady has thrown at you, okay? So that'll be in the next video.